What's up guys, in this video I'm going to show you what flawless text game looks like and how it can get you laid even if you live with your parents that same night with a girl who's much taller than you. So this was posted by one of our longtime mastermind members and I want to share it with you guys because number one, I think it's really good text game, and two, I think there's a lot of lessons that we can all learn from. So make sure you guys watch until the very end. Let's begin. So he opens the girl with, hey, her name, I'm quite curious, and this is known as a curiosity opening. The girl is to get the girl being like, oh really, what is it? And these have a very high response rate, but you need to know where you're going afterwards, right? You can't just be like, shit, what do I do now? She says, ask away. He says, why do you look like trouble but innocent at the same time? She says, oh, that's easy because I am. Next question. And notice what he does here. He says, I'll be the judge of that. Next question, say please. So he's already trying to position it as like he's the dominant one and she has to be submissive. And this is very, even though it's very mild, right? I think it's important to set these frames. However, I think this only works because he has a somewhat sexual bio. I'm pretty sure he has the word dominant in there, right? Which kind of helps him set the frame. If your bio is purely platonic, you're like, yeah, I like playing ping pong, going hiking, and that's all you say, right? And your photos are very PC, you know, there's nothing, no shirtless photo, nothing that's fuckboyish, right? And you say this, that some girls will be like, say please, who the fuck do you think you are? Right? So the context is very important here. She says, next question, please. So she's falling into his frame. He says, good girl, what are you looking for on here? I'm open to exploring, but ideally hope to find something consistent, communicative, and fun. So this is code word for I want to get fucked hard, but I don't want to come off as a slut, so I'm just going to give you this smoke screen. And look, like I think that in terms of the sending the what are you looking for on here text, the same thing applies. You need to have at least a somewhat flirty sexual bio, right? If you have just a purely platonic bio, right, you look like very like standard preppy or whatever, not like a fuck boy, then you're gonna get boring answers and this question is not gonna help you at all. But this is why I always recommend to you guys having something that's at least somewhat sexual in your bio. Combine that with humor to counterbalance it. And he says, my kind of girl, looks like we're on the same page. Are you feeling spontaneous tonight? She says, it's my day off. Now look, I'm not the biggest fan of this text. I think this was he's skipping a step here. So what I would have said when she says that she's open to exploring, blah, 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 I would have said, perfect, same here. I bet we'd have a lot of fun together, right? Something like that. That would be the kind of the bridge. And then she'd say, yeah, I bet we would. And then you can ask her, cool, we should get together somewhere soon, or cool, you feeling spontaneous tonight. It's kind of skipping a step here, but I'm also kind of nitpicking right now. She says, it's my day off. He says, that's not an answer. This is a really good demonstration of how to call a girl out, right? You want to do it playfully without coming off as butthurt. And you can see what kind of a difference it makes. He goes from, it's my day off to, you're strict, I like it. Yes, I'm feeling spontaneous and available tonight, right? That's a massive change in her tonality because he lightly called her out. And he says, that's more like it. Let's plan over text. What's your number? So what he's doing here, and this may seem like kind of like primitive, right? But he's rewarding good behavior and in a way punishing bad behavior. And I think that this kind of gets the wrong rap, but you wanna, like if a girl sends you a text you like, you wanna reward her by investing more of your energy, right? Or even saying something positive. If a girl gives you a one-word answer, the last thing you wanna do is respond very positively by sending her a paragraph, right? Then you wanna reciprocate that energy and maybe send her like a sentence or send her a takeaway, right? So again, it's very important, like when you're texting a girl on a date, is that you're not rewarding bad behavior because that's just gonna create more bad behavior. All right, so now switches over to text. She says, hi, hola. He says, oh, you speak Spanish? She says, sí, claro que sí, which means yes, I do. He says, where are you from originally? I was born here, my family's from Ghana. He says, don't tease me now, Ghana girls are my favorite. Now, I really doubt that's actually the case, but it's a good flirty line you can use for wherever the girl's from. Maybe with a possible exception if she's a North Korean escaped refugee, but you would just say, oh, cool, yeah, Colombian girls are my favorite. She says, hee, where are you from? Born here, my dad is from Jalisco though, grandma Guatemala. That explains a lot. So you like how strict I am, huh? I want to also draw your attention to this. Like a lot of guys, they make the mistake of they going down all these side convos and then just like 10 texts later talking about the girl's favorite fucking manicure pedicure place, right? But you want to, you know, once a girl asks you a question, you want to answer that, but ultimately you want to redirect the conversation to something that benefits you, which is either making it more sexual or moving things towards the date or something along the lines of that. You don't want to go on all these side tangents, right? So it's important to answer the girl's question, but then you bring it back, which is exactly what he did. She says, no, but I think I need that. He says, something tells me you do, that you appreciate a man who will put you in your place. And look, honestly, this is the vast majority of girls, but I think a lot of girls won't admit that, right? So this is the only reason this text works is because he was able to kind of set it up with some of the mild dom text that he was sending earlier. She does one of these covered face emojis. He says, am I wrong? Which is the good text to send here. She says, nope. Good. How far are you from where he lives? Depends on traffic, but not too far. What city are you in? 20, 40 minutes, blah, blah, blah. Here's the city. Ah, not too far at all. So, what time? And this was good. When the girl's asking buying questions like, where do you live? What's your address? What time should I get there? What should I wear? That's a very good sign that she's serious about showing up, so pay attention to that. He says, let's shoot for 9:30, cool. You're gonna get me to bed at a reasonable time? So this is a little bit of like a concern. And he says, yes, before you turn into a pumpkin. Good text, right? You don't wanna be like, yeah, I'll do my best, but blah, 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 right? Just kind of handle it with just saying yes, and then just throw in something like kind of witty there. She says, oh, or worse. And then here he does something that he didn't need to do, but I think he was just legitimately trying to get an answer to this. He says, lol, I'm curious, are you open to explore public play? And she says, no, that sounds horrible. I'm not an exhibitionist at all in the slightest, and that would turn me all the way off. Convincing? Question mark. And look, like, I think these are good conversations to have with a girl. I typically do them after I sleep with a girl. You could do them on the date potentially if the vibe is right, but I like to have these conversations after I have sex with a girl, because chances are she's gonna be into some kinky ass shit that might overlap with some of the kinky ass shit that I'm into, right? So I think it's a good conversation to have. I just probably wouldn't do it over text before the first date. But again, it works out fine here. Sometimes with text, you can just do certain things that maybe aren't optimal, but if you did all the other things right, it just works anyway. So he says, I'll put you in the right headspace. Nothing else will matter besides you and me in that moment. She says, I have a class right now, love. I'll check with you after. Gotcha, be a good student. So again, doing the whole Dom thing once again. Always, I'll reward you for being with me. I'll be on my best behavior. Send me a picture. I guess he wants to see what she looks like. She does. And here he says something interesting. He says, oh my, you're precious. She says, treat me nice, please. I guess a lot of guys did not treat her nice. Don't worry, I'll be gentle with you. How tall are you? And she says, 5'10". Oh, though tall girls are my favorite. I hope that's not a deal breaker for you that I'm 5'6". Now look, like, he didn't need to ask about her height. I will typically do ask about girls' height, but that's simply because I have a strong preference for girls who are a lot shorter than me. For me, for girls taller than 5'6", that's kind of like becoming a turnoff. 5'7", 5'8", I'll just cancel the date outright, right? So I do want to inquire about that, but again, that's because I have that, I want girls to be a lot shorter than me. Versus I think for him, he actually likes taller girls, but I'm actually really glad he sent this message, because it kind of proves the point that I want to send with this video, which is that if you have a good text game, you can get away with a lot of shit. Because she responds with, you seem like you know how to handle me, right? And again, this means that, like, it doesn't mean that being short is you're going to be able to pull it off with every girl. Some girls will be like, oh, sorry, yeah, you're a little too short for me. But the main objection girls have to a guy who's shorter than them is they just don't want to seem like the masculine one. They feel kind of masculine standing next to him. They don't feel like the guy can manhandle them or dominate them, right? And if you come off as very assertive, very dominant, right, very grounded, then the fact that you're shorter is going to play way less of a role. Anyway, he says, I love the confidence. She says, likewise, tell me what you like. He says, kinks, all of it. I enjoy ass slapping, light choking, nipple biting, neck kissing. I'm into role play, blindfolds, pussy slapping, to name a few. I wonder what pussy slapping is. We just fucking take a girl, just whack her on the pussy. Now, when I get asked this question, one thing I like to throw in here is I like to say orgasm denial. And this works really well. So what that is basically you get a girl close to coming, and then you don't let her come. And then I'll describe that. I'll be like, yeah, I also love orgasm denial. And the girl will be like, oh, what's that? Or tell me more about that. And I'll be like, I'm going to get you really close to coming, but then I won't let you come. And I'll make you beg for it over and over and over again. And maybe finally I'll let you come, or maybe not, right? Well, girls love that kind of shit. Like, this is probably the biggest thing you could say that will turn most girls on. And she says, yummy. I'm more of a giver than I like to receive, but when I do, I love to have my neck and chest kissed. Passionately, a good blowjob that is not rushed or anything. That's interesting. I personally never been like the biggest fan of blowjobs. Obviously, they're better than nothing. They're kind of fun, but I think if given the choice between sex and a blowjob, I'll pick sex like 99 out of 100 times. She says, noted, I'm a simple girl. Neck kisses drive me insane. I like to be talked through it. And yeah, look, for most girls, they have an erogenous zone either in their neck or their collarbone. So if you kiss one of those two places, she'll get really horny. He says, simple goes a long way. I like to take my time, not rush. Take all the time you need, Poppy. And then he says, especially on the neck kisses and nipple sucking, she does the drooling emoji. We can meet earlier, say 7:30 if you like. I'm in the library studying a little bit. I could swing 8:15. Where should I meet you? here's my addy, pick me up. And this is the next thing is you can see he doesn't have logistics. I believe he lives with his mom, right? But because, you know, the frame is correct here, that he was able to sexualize the conversation, the girl's clearly invested, he was able to literally have the girl pick him up, drive him to her place, and fuck her there, right? So that's an important thing that, you know, it's also you can look at. Like, this is for all the guys who are having a hard time because they live with their parents. Like, there's hope, but you have to set up the conversation something like this. She says, hee, okay, I'll text you my ETA when I'm leaving. He says, sounds good. Hola, my ETA is 8:20. That cool? Cool, see you soon. Oops, I missed my freeway exit. Be there in 10. So here's just logistics, and then they meet up. And I believe he said they had sex pretty quickly after meeting up. Big surprise. And when you come off as very dominant over text, it's just a lot easier. You can just be like, okay, come on in. Hey, I want to see something. Ooh, I love your fucking dress. Let me see this a little bit. And then, you know, you just basically just have, it's a lot easier. And she says, more soon, please. Bam. Overall, even though this was relatively simple, I think it's a really good display of text game and what's possible if your game is good. Obviously, there's some luck involved here, but you really can get laid the same night, you know, even if the girl's taller than you, even if you have shitty logistics, blah, blah, blah. That's the power of a good game, and if you go through enough volume, you can make that happen, combined with, of course, having a good profile. Anyway, if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you check out free Tinder guide. Link is in the description. This is the first step to basically getting to where he is, so you can get really good photos so you can start getting matches in the first place, how to write the kind of bio that makes you stand out, and also text games so you can take all those leads you're going to get and turn them into dates. Thank you guys for watching. Until next time.